Hello once again and welcome to my beginner tutorial on how to create a Halo Custom Edition map. I want to say congratulations for making it this far. If you've come this far, then that means that you've gone from perhaps not knowing anything about making a Halo map to something way more complicated like this. If you're wondering, from last tutorial, I have recently upgraded to Windows 8, and apparently that has some issues with some existing files. So for this tutorial, I'm going to use a very simple map. These textures I just kind of threw together, some water there. So that's why I'm not using the fancy testing room that I developed. Those will come back online soon. For those of you who have Windows 8, it's not really a different process. So that'll be coming back for future higher difficulty tutorials, which I will be making. But congratulations, because this is the last step for the beginner tutorials, and today we'll be going over objective game types and separating your map, different objects and different weapons for different game types. This is important because on the guidelines for creating a Halo map right now, it states that all Halo maps need to support all game types. Now, of course, if it's just a personal map between friends, I understand many of you are probably just going to make a standard Slayer map rather than a capture the flag or race map. I'm sure many of you will do that, but I understand the majority is still Slayer. But like I said, if you are to publish this map publicly or on halomaps.org, it really should support all the game types, because there could be issues. I'm not sure if there still are, since there have been so many patches, but there could be issues with servers trying to run your map. If they try to run it with a different game type, it could crash. So without further ado, let's get started here. The reason we're starting in Sapien is we aren't going to be doing any modeling today, so you can take any pre-existing map you have. And let's start with laying down some starting points. So this is imagining you just put your map into Sapien. There's nothing on it. I'm going to put a starting point right here. Now, normally, in all my other tutorials, I say go down to all games. It's kind of cut off here, but all games. And that will make this spawn point available for all game types. Today, however, we're going to separate this into Slayer, Oddball, King of the Hill, etc. So let's start with Slayer. I'm going to create a line of 4 possible spawn points right here. I'm going to go over here and create another line of 4 in the shadows here. But with these 4, I want to change the team index to 1. And what this does is allows other teams to actually spawn. So now you're supporting Team Slayer as opposed to just Lone Wolf, as it was called in Halo 3. So if you click in your hierarchy view here, you can see the first 4 have Team 0, the next 4 have Team 1. Normally, they want, I believe, 16 spawn points per team, or maybe 8 and 16 total. Just make sure for your map that you have an adequate amount of spawns and that they're spaced away from opposite teams. It's just for balance. That's mainly a stylistic / balance choice. Now we have these spawns out of the way. These are all for Slayer. So if you try to spawn and capture the flag or something, that's not going to work out very well. Let's go into water for here. And the reason I'm putting these so separately is so that we know that these are working. So I'm going to put these. I'm going to leave the team index at 1, actually. I'm going to go over here now in the water. Change the team index to 0 on the first one I put. And that will allow any subsequent ones I put to be team 0. That'll save some time. And you can check. When you start to have a ton of spawn points, it starts getting a bit complicated. Okay, so we have tons of spawn points. These are still Slayer though, so like I said, I should have set this when I was placing them. That would have saved some time. Now, for the sake of saving time here, we're just going to put one spawn point in the water for every other game type. There we go. So we have teams. I realize that these are opposite, and that's on purpose because I want to see what happens. Want to very much verify that these are spawning right, but remember, when you're setting up your spawn points, do it for your map. Spawn point placement, it's very important. You want to stop people from spawn killing. I'm not sure that's quite an issue on Halo PC right now, but it's certainly something that can happen. Now that we have spawns here, you're still wondering, okay, we have spawns, that's Slayer had spawns. I don't understand how flags work. You know, that's a big objective type. So let's start with those. Let's go down to game data, Netgame Flags. Now remember when we placed weapons, we had Netgame equipment. So Netgame Flags is not just about capture the flag flags. It's about King of the Hill areas, race, vehicles and tracks, oddball spawns. So we see the first one selected is capture the flag, CTF flag. Now I want to point out something very, very important. We have our capture the flag team spawns here as team 1. When I place the flag here, that's going to cause issues with all the spawn points here because this is team 0. This caused me a huge headache when I was making capture the flag maps because I didn't understand what was wrong with my map. I didn't pay attention to the team indexes, and as it turns out, you cannot put, based on the game engine, you cannot put the opposite team spawn points close to the opposite team's flag. So you can't help a team along by letting them spawn right next to the flag. So when placing your flag, make sure you put the right team index where it's supposed to be. So 1 is supposed to be there, 0 is supposed to be there. As for which colors those are, I am not sure at the moment. I will put those on the video below. Here you go, right here somewhere. There you go. Now, unfortunately in Sapien you will not see these flags. So you'll see these just placement items, and you'll recall when you were placing the Netgame equipment, that's pretty much the same thing. So let's put a special weapon right here, right there. Let's make it for King of the Hill only. Or let's mix this up. Let's make it for King of the Hill and capture the flag, so we shouldn't see it on Slayer. And let's make it a rocket launcher. Let's see, I'm looking for item collections, single weapons, and let's make it a rocket launcher. And let's make it levitate. Okay. So yeah, you saw in Netgame equipment that it doesn't show up in Sapien. So that's sadly the same thing for the flags. So how you place your flags is very simple, actually. Let's go to our scenery, and I've already added this to my scenery selections using edit types. Let's put a flag base down, and you'll see that shows up in Sapien, and you'll recognize it as the classic flag base. Let me click out of here. This is the classic flag base you see in all Halo games. So let's put one there, and let's put one here. Oops. Selected comments. Let's put one there. And now let's go to our flags. Netgame Flags under game data. Let's move the so team 1. Team 1 by the team 1 spawns. Let's put them right here and try to line it up with the flag base. And then let's go over here and line this flag up with this flag base. Okay. Now you'd think we're done at this point because, I mean, we have our flags, we have our spawn points. That's what you do in Capture the Flag. You can toss on some weapons. So you think we're done, but we're not. The flags are going to look really weird, and I'm not even sure if they'll work if you don't do this. So just see if you can. I should have deleted this so I can show you how. So here in our weather palette, we're going to click New Instance, and we can name this whatever we want. I'm going to name it like I had it before, R wind. And under wind here, we're going to find some wind. Now, you can do a search for wind. In fact, I'm going to do that. .wind in my Halo directory. And let's see what we get. As it turns out, Windows 8 does not let me do a search while I'm recording. So just keep in mind that you can do a search while you're not recording and search for .wind, and you might find stuff. I'm going to go directly to where I know it is, which is in tags, levels, test, rat race, and you'll see multiplayer.wind. And I'm going to just give these whatever magnitude and direction I want. I'm going to put 1 for all those. I'm not going to mess with wind scale function. I really haven't seen... This isn't like wind, like, oh, the players are going crazy and getting blown across the map. This is like... The reason we're doing it for Capture the Flag is, oh, the flag is blowing in the breeze. It's really not a huge deal here. So one last thing that I almost forgot to do is that once you're done creating your weather palette here for your wind, you want to make sure that you go down to the weather folder down here, and I had it set to none before. You make sure you just select your wind palette that you created up here, and also very important that you save with weather selected. You'll see it says Save Scenario Structure BSP. And you'll notice that's different as opposed to if you clicked player starting points and tried to save. You see that this just says Save Scenario. So go down to your weather, change this, and make sure that you save this. Very important. So now that we have that, our flags will look correct. That's all you needed to do. So now we have our Capture the Flag ready. Our flags will look correct. They'll be on flag bases. The teams will spawn correctly. We have Slayer spawns. Let's go to our next possible objective type. Let's see what we have here. Netgame Flags. I want to put one down just right in the middle here. Let's see what we have here. We have Capture the Flag Vehicle. Okay, something I messed up on in the original video. I'm editing this into the video many months later. Should have realized I'd make a couple mistakes that I realized in editing, trying to take on all of the objective game types at once. I'm bound to make a few mistakes here or there. The main one that I made is right here, where I put these Netgame Flags. Race vehicle is correct, but I also put a Netgame flag that was for Capture the Flag vehicle. And just like the Vegas Bank, you can basically ignore Capture the Flag vehicle as a Netgame flag. And the reason you do that is because when you go up here to vehicles, you'll see that there's a way to put a vehicle for Slayer, Capture the Flag, King of the Hill, Oddball, but not for race. So if you want to put a race vehicle, this is where you put it. In your Netgame Flags, you put down a race vehicle. Now you'll notice, and also be sure to set your team index, but you'll notice that you can't choose what kind of vehicle is going to spawn. This is a very frustrating part of the Halo engine, but it is a part of the Halo engine. So either you can go into scripting, which can be a little complicated if you aren't used to programming, or you go down to your globals. Now you notice what this says here, globals/globals.globals. It's kind of redundant, but this is like the brain This is like the central hub of all of the tags. So you want to be very, very careful when you're editing this. And you want to go down to vehicles. And if you're wondering where this is in your folders, you can go open and you see it's in your tags directory under globals, and it's globals.globals. So with that open, go down to vehicles, and you'll see that this is right here, and you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 vehicles to choose from. Now what's going to happen is that there's a weird kind of spawn order here, that for the first 4 players to go to your server or your map, it's going to give them the top slot right here. Players 5 to 8 will get the vehicle second in the list, while any additional players get the vehicle that is last in the list. Only 8 vehicles total will spawn for race by default though, so keep that in mind. In order for all 3 race vehicles to spawn, you have to change how many per type will spawn in the race game type. If you go ahead and edit a race game type in Halo in the game menu, not with other tools or anything, go ahead and try to change the vehicle options and notice 3 things. 1, there are 6 vehicles listed. 2, they correspond to the 6 vehicles in this globals list, although changing it in globals won't change the names listed in game. It'll change the vehicles, but not what you see as the names listed. And 3, that each vehicle defaults to 4 on a map. That's why the first 4 get the first vehicle and the next 4, etc. You can also access the additional vehicles by using Team Race, but this gets beyond my knowledge since I don't have 8 other people with Halo Custom Edition to test this with fully. So let's say we don't want warthogs. So what do? I'm going to not do that. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to duplicate my ghost. So you see ghost is now at the end as well. I'm going to duplicate my warthog actually. That's better. So now warthog's at the end. I can go ahead and delete this. I'm going to delete the first warthog as well. So you see now that ghost is at the top and that we still have 6 slots, so we're still obeying the rule. Now, once again, I took the first slot, I duplicated it, so it ended up at the end of the list, and then I deleted the first thing. So I can do that again, duplicate, select the first slot, delete. So I still have ghost and I have scorpions, and so in fact let's do that. And we're going to save this. And once again, be very, very careful when you do this, because you really don't want to have to enter these back together, and what you change in the globals.globals file will affect every map you make. Unlike if I messed up something in here, if I just deleted this flag, I could go back into Sapien and fix it, or I can, at worst case scenario, I can recompile this from my 3D model. This is a bit harder. You're going to have to find it online or reinstall your editing kit if you mess up something and you don't know how to fix it in here. To make a capture the flag vehicle, you're going to want to go to your objects, units, vehicles, edit types. Let's go crazy here. Let's have a little fun. Usually you get a warthog for capture the flag. Let's give ourselves a, let's see what we have here. Pelican? No, we don't have one of those. Life pod? No. That'd be too fun. What do we have? A lot of half-made things. Fine, let's just give ourselves a Banshee. Multiplayer, MP stands for multiplayer pretty much always. And we're going to put this Banshee. Now if we put the Banshee here, it is going to show up. Hey, how's that going? We're going to go down to multiplayer team index, make sure it's 1 because this is the side for the 1 team. And we're going to say it is capture the flag default, so it always shows up capture the flag. We're also going to set it allowed so it can spawn and capture the flag. And I believe that's it for that. So let's put a new game type down here. Let's put the oddball. And let's put down team. Here's the deal about Netgame Flags that have no team index. No team alignment. Like, the oddball is not a blue item or a red item. It is just an object for both teams to fight over. So the team index doesn't mean anything for that, for whose team gets it. It means the spawn order. So if we were to put a kill zone to kill the oddball somehow and throw it off the map, we could put another one and have it spawn there. But really, one oddball spawn is fine for us right now. We're going to leave it right there. Let's put another here, and let's make this a race vehicle. Again, just like the capture the flag vehicle. Not the Banshee, the Netgame flag. That is going to be Team 1. The only reason is because I don't remember the rules for getting in enemy vehicles for Halo 1, and if I spawn on Team 1, I want to use all this stuff. So let's put that there. This is the vehicle that you're going to get in to do the race. And let's put a couple tracks around. 1, 2, 3. Let's go to this, and let's change it to a racetrack. Racetrack. And racetrack. And let's change it so that we have a coherent order to go through these. So like I said, the racetracks are not team-based. Therefore, the team index simply means the order. And the order in the context of races is, of course, the order of checkpoints. So I selected the right one. Team index 0 means it's going to go first. This one's going to go second with team index 1. And this has 2. Just remember, this starts from 0. So the third checkpoint is actually team index 2. Finally, Vegas Bank. I don't know. I guess there was another game type, because I don't know what Vegas Bank is used for. Finally, we have Hill Flag. While you might think Hill has some team alignment, it doesn't. So again, for Crazy King, where the hill moves, you want to put 0, then 1, and it will change a certain amount of time. Let's put another one just in case, 2. So it'll change between those 3 in that order. And I believe if you don't have Crazy King, it's just going to either select one at random or just use the 0 point. So that's probably where the hill will be on King of the Hill. Okay. So we have a lot of stuff here. Let's make sure everything looks good. We have our spawn points. We have that. I'm not seeing anything you aren't. I'm just going over in my mind. I believe everything is okay. Let me make sure this vehicle is okay, that it spawns right. Yeah. Okay. We're going to save it. Now I have a quick bat file I run to finish off this map that just automatically runs the commands, so I don't have to go through that. And now let's walk through all these objective types in Halo. So here we are in Halo now. Let's go ahead and create our land game and flood beach. And just for a set of reference, let's start with Slayer, the non-objective game type.
Team Slayer. Slayer.
You'll see we spawned in our Slayer spawn points on this team. We didn't spawn in the water, which was for the objective types. We still see these here. You can set those to spawn only in capture the flag if you don't want them to show up in weird game types where they're not supposed to be. So let's go ahead and change out of that. Next game type is oddball.
Team Slayer.
Oddball. There we go. So the first thing you'll notice is that there is no oddball. But you have to remember that the oddball takes a little while to spawn, so let's give it a moment.
Play ball.
And there you go. So don't freak out if the oddball doesn't spawn right away. And you see it spawned right where we wanted it to spawn, in the middle of the beach. Next game, we have Juggernaut. I'm just gonna load it just to show you, but there's no
Team
real
Slayer.
point.
Oddball.
We're gonna spawn in the all game spawn because we set the others for Slayer. I believe if you want a Juggernaut only spawn or Juggernaut only item, it's listed as Terminator under the game selection types. But it's really basically Slayer, so there isn't any objective markers to set up for this. So as long as you have a Slayer map, Juggernaut's pretty much supported as well. Just remember to have some spawn points that are either all games or Terminator. I'm pretty sure it's called Terminator. Don't quote me on
Team
that one.
Slayer. King of the
Anyway,
Hill.
King of the Hill. I fixed my mistake, so we actually have hills with areas here. And hey, there's that rocket launcher we set up that isn't in any other game type, but it's in our, I believe, Capture the Flag and King of the Hill games. I'm going to give this a couple seconds here, maybe fast forward. My mistake. I'm thinking of the wrong game type already. Let's exit out. So we saw the hill works. Let's go back in for Crazy King, and I'll seem less crazy when I'm waiting for the hill to move this time. So there's the first hill again. Now we can fast forward and see the hill move. Oh, look. The hill moved. There we go. So you'll see by that pile of very alive Spartans that that's where I was, and the hill moved over here. So that's how we get Crazy King to work. We put all those hill markers down and gave them all different team indexes. So, that's pretty much it. Yay. Let's go to the next type. We have here race. So I fixed it. It was a bit broken before. Now we actually have 3 checkpoints. And you'll see all of a sudden there's a warthog, and you didn't see me put a warthog. So why is it here? You may recall I put a race vehicle flag, and by default that goes to warthog in Halo. So if you just toss one of those flags down whenever it's the race type, you get your race default vehicle. We have ourselves 3 markers. And when I get back to the first marker, automatic lap. So that's a very easy way to make a race game type.
Race.
So you'll see, because of my mistake earlier, I'm able to now show you both a warthog and a tank here. I've just started the race over. And you'll notice that when I change the globals, so that the first slot was a scorpion. Now I drive a scorpion in a race. And if there's 3 other people in my map, they would all also get scorpions. And then the 5th person would get a different vehicle. So it's a bit weird that race does it this way, but it gives a bit of flexibility to the people who are running the server or whatever, I guess. I don't really use it that much, so just keep that in mind.
Capture the flag.
Okay, so now we're on to Capture the Flag. I've actually had to record this so many times. There's a lot of considerations to make sure you have just right for Capture the Flag.
Team Slayer.
By the way, the reason it says Team Slayer when I
Team
switch to my assault
Slayer.
rifle is because it's a special assault rifle. I'm not sure if I already mentioned that in a previous section, but I'll explain all about that in text right here, and I'll put a link to it in the description. Makes it very easy for testing things. First thing you'll notice about this Banshee is that we placed it for Capture the Flag, and it is here this time, and I can perfectly drive it around. This is as opposed to like Race or Oddball, where you noticed it wasn't here, so that's good. That shows that that works. So you can have certain vehicles only appear in certain game types. That's all working. I can grab
Red
the
team
flag.
has the flag.
So now I have the flag. Just show you one little capture, show you that everything's working.
Red team score.
And you'll see that it doesn't even have to be perfectly centered on the flag base. So you can have your own flag base, really. Just make sure that all the other things are set correctly so you can actually score it right. And there you go. We've turned this weird little map into a capture the flag map pretty easily. There's one more thing I want to show you. You'll note that all the team types down here are pretty much the same as the types above here, so you really just treat them the same. But there's one more non-team game type we have left, which is Assault. And if you played Halo 3 or
Team
Reach or
Slayer.
4,
Capture the flag.
I'm not sure if they have it in Halo 4 actually, but they consider it some kind of asymmetrical flag game in Halo 1, as opposed to a bomb, which it is in later games. You'll notice that because it's treated like a capture the flag game, that we still have our Banshee here, even though we said it was capture the flag only. So keep in mind that Assault treats it like that. I'm on defense, which is not really good for showing this game type off.
Team Slayer.
There we go. That worked. That's something you need to make sure too. When you're playing Assault, make sure your spawns are correct. Because I was able to spawn right next to this flag even though I'm on offense. So that's something I overlooked because I was thinking only of capture the flag. So you want to test your maps when you make these game types so that something like that doesn't happen. The enemy doesn't spawn right
Team
next to you
Slayer score.
and capture the flag on Assault. So there we go. We've gone through Slayer, Oddball, Juggernaut. It's pretty much just like Slayer. King of the Hill, Crazy King. Make sure you place multiple hills for Crazy King. Race, Capture the Flag, and Assault. You now have the tools to create your map, make it an
Team
objective
Slayer.
map.
Oddball.
Have all sorts of variety to your map. Put certain spawns on certain game types and all that kind of stuff. I hope you'll stick with me. The next time I have time, I will start on the intermediate series, and eventually we'll cover things like how to make a weapon, custom weapon with custom effects like
Team
this thing.
Slayer.
And you'll see, I mean, the amount of effects you can get with weapons is astounding. The fact that I can spawn more Spartans with this
Team
weapon,
Slayer.
which by the way I take no credit for. Like I said, I'll put all the credits in the description for this. But yeah, the amount of stuff you can customize is just truly astounding. So this is the final tutorial in the beginner series. You should have all the tools you need to make something like this with capture the flag, whatever you want. And if you stick with me, we'll go through weapons, custom vehicles, custom everything. So, as always, good luck, good modding, and hope to see you next time.